down here today at CYCLONE Transmission here in Canton, Ohio with Rich here. He's going to explain what we got going on today and what exactly we're working on.
Yeah, this is Mike Batdorf's POWERGLIDE. We built a couple years ago and been in the car for a while. It's got 100 to 150 pretty good passes on it. The car's making a considerable amount of power. You know, it's 60 footing, you know, probably as good as some dragsters out there, and so, you know, some really fast door cars. So I think we're well over 1,000 horsepower, probably. I don't know if like anybody saying this. I know it's kind of secretive, but you know, probably 1,500 maybe in that neighborhood. So after 150 passes, we just want to take a look and see how it's holding up. It's the winter time, so good time to pull it down for service and see what we got. So we're gonna take the pan off and see how she looks. It's in the pan here. Not too hateful, but you know, some wear. So probably a good idea to tear it down for reclutch.
So the stuff that's in this pan, is that something normal as far as wear and tear?
Yeah.
Or do you sense that there could possibly be an issue?
I think it's normal wear and tear for this particular horsepower level. You know, the thing about transmissions that people don't realize is the filter doesn't capture anything. It's just a screen. So it's not like an engine oil filter where you're capturing everything and keeping it in there. So it just keeps it out of the trans, and then everything that's left over, you know, ends up in the pan. So the first thing we always look at is we're tearing one down. First, look at the pan, and that tells you a lot about what's going on. I mean, you could pretty much have a really good idea by looking inside the pan, looking for metal, looking for brass from bushings, clutch dust. Other thing I saw in there was clutch material. So I'm not expecting to see anything hateful in here, but we're going to split the pump. That's just the way we've always done it. You know, that's the way I was taught, you know, a long time ago by my dad. So, you know, gonna split it and see what we got. So the first thing we want to look at is where the gear's riding. We get to the point where we can feel if there's a dip in here where the gears ride, you know, even if it's a thousandths or two, we can kind of feel it. But we'll put a straight edge across it and make sure it's perfect, which I'm feeling it. It feels pretty nice. Like, so critical to have the right amount of fluid in your trans, because you let it go low once, if you got a little leak, it could eat your pump really quick. And it's not something where, like an engine, you could have it go low and it's still pumping. I mean, trans runs out of fluid quick. So we'll inspect the gears. See how the converter's riding in there. There's no chatter. Nice even wear. Look at the teeth, make sure there's no chipping on the teeth. So once the surface hardness goes away, then, you know, get down into the softer part of the gear, it's over. So we'll put these on here the way they were in. So, upside down, and look at the outer part of the gear. It looks good. So Mike kept proper fluid level in this thing, which is good. Then we look at the outside of the pocket. That feels nice. You'll see ridges in here if they're bad, you know. And then, of course, down in here. And depending on how this is worn, in the other pump side, it'll tell you if you got a thrust issue, you know, front thrust or rear thrust. So if you got a bearing issue in the motor, that's how you know that. I mean, you could read a lot from just looking at all this stuff real close. So I'm really happy with this pump. It looks good. So other than normal wear, this will tell you a lot about what's going on. So I expect to see no hard parts damage. So we checked the bushing too. Bushing has some wear. It might be from different converters going in there. You know, I know Mike switched converters a bunch of times, and that can get scored real easy. So
yeah, he at least had 3 converters in this thing this year, just trying different things.
Yeah, so we'll fix that up. We'll look at the this surface here. That centers the trans. This is the input shaft.
What exactly is this part?
That's a clutch plate. Okay, so this is the high drum, and this is your first clutch in there. And takes me a minute. I look things over real close, real slow. Look for ridges and wear on stuff like this. You know, any type of wear you want to look at it real close. So I'm looking at the top clutch plate, and I'm saying, usually if we have a wear issue, it's the first couple of clutches. The clutch furthest away from the piston usually wears the worst, because it gets the least amount of pressure. So I'm liking what I see already. There's no blackening or anything on this plate. So we'll start pulling the plates out one at a time. That doesn't have to be. But anyway, so I don't use choline steels. It's just, we've been doing this a long time, been in the business 50 years, and just I don't know, we just don't use them. I think it's kind of a gimmick. They're really expensive. As you can see, 150 passes, this steel looks perfect, you know. So another great looking clutch. And we can just kind of spread them out like this. And then we flip them over, look at the other side, make sure. And this thing looks pretty much like the day he took it. So everything's working. And a lot of people would probably rerun these clutches, but it's in here, so we're gonna put all new stuff in just because. So this is his band. Looks good. We look at this right here where the lining is, make sure it's uniform all the way around, and it isn't really worn down right there, and it looks pretty good. We'll replace it anyway, but maybe I gotta spin it. Okay, so we're all about safety here, and I try to make sure people know what's safe and what's not, even if they don't want to go my route. But this is a liner that goes in the POWERGLIDE, the aftermarket case, and you won't get this with a new new glide, or with an old used glide, because this is just a safety feature. But in case of a blow up, this helps keep stuff inside the trans parts. Helps keep you safe. It's important, I think, if you're making a lot of power. Because once stuff comes out of the trans, you punch a hole in the trans, and you got oil under the rear tires, and so I mean, just for this, if you're making some power, safety is important, and it's one of the reasons why we want to run aftermarket case. So, okay, this is the 1.8 Planetary that we're running, and we'll just kind of look at the splines, make sure everything's even there, no twisting. Okay, and then we'll check the gears for play, up and down, side to side. See if anything's. We'll put feeler gauges in here and check this stuff later, but just looking for gear wear. And side to side rocking. Make sure the teeth are good. Everything looks pretty good. You can see, a lot of times you'll see heat in an area where there's a problem. That'll tell you right where to go right off the bat. So anytime you see heat or bluing or anything on any part, you want to look at that part with a microscope. So this is the low reverse clutch pack, and you can still see the writing on the clutches. See that right there? Still says Borg Warner. So, I mean, these things, a lot of people will run these again, all the way through the pack. See the writing on everything. I mean, this thing's like brand new. So, the POWERGLIDE is just a great, and this is, I mean, we're talking major horsepower this guy's running. We're not talking a 750 horsepower naturally aspirated. We're talking turbo car, 60 foot and, well under 1.4, which is a typical door car, I think he's into the 1.2s, I'm pretty sure, right,
yep.
Chris?
Yes,
so,
sir.
He might not like me saying but anyway, the POWERGLIDE is just a really durable unit, and we got some people we've worked with in the past that they're making a little bit of power with they want to stay brand loyal and run a Ford with a Ford or Chrysler with a Chrysler, but there comes a point in time where it's just not. You're taking a trans in and out all the time. You're spending tons of money on parts, and you're not going to run any faster. You might actually be faster with this. So. We started off with Mike with a turbo 350 and the same car. I think he was, he had a little small block, was spraying it a little bit, and he kept stepping up. We went to a 400, and it worked really well. But everybody was running glides. It was lighter, so, and he kept making more power. And finally I said, look, Mike, we can't build the same type of trans using old parts and stuff. It's time to spend some money and get off the wallet, and so we built this trans, and as you can see, the proof's in the pudding. And he didn't take this thing out at all, other than the past 2 years, other than to replace the converter. So not that it's not a good idea to service it, but this is what we like to see. You want to go round after round, weekend after weekend, without having to worry about the transmission. So, and I know, a lot of people pull their hair out trying to make stuff work. So, you're well ahead to spend the money up front, and build a good unit. So we use all good parts, the best stuff we could find. So as you can see, the result was great. So I think that's about it. I'm pretty happy. This makes my job easy too. So we want to service this thing, get it back out. We don't want to be chasing gremlins or replacing parts that are outdated and just have seen their limitations. So I like what we see. We're just going to clean this thing up and reclutch it and be good to go for another season.